Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Stream of David Live. I am here with the ever beautiful Matt Gardan. Hi, Matt.
Hi, David. What a lovely intro.
Recognizing your beauty right off the bat.
Whoa.
So we are live once again on Facebook and Law of Attraction 2.0, and we are also live in the Stream of David page, or the Stream of David channel on YouTube. So if you're logging on, tuning in, the first thing we should do actually is look and make sure that we're actually live where we think we're supposed to be live. We see people logging on right now. So let us know where you are. If you're on Facebook and Law of Attraction 2.0, if you're on YouTube, give us a little shout, say hello, write in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you've watched the show before, you know what the deal is. You have questions for the stream, type your questions in for the stream now. We were on live last night in Spirituality Going Wild. I was on with Debbie, because Matt was
also beautiful,
the ever beautiful Debbie. And Matt just spent 3 days in Southern California here with me.
Yeah, I did. It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing. It was great. We did some good work on the next couple of months. So there's lots of exciting things coming. And it was absolutely, dude, it was amazing doing a stream interaction in person. We definitely need to organize some live events for this year.
The
experience is just completely different.
I love to stream. I love to answer questions and sit and channel in person. And, it's just the energy is just incredible. And I know you really enjoyed that experience. Glad we
it was fantastic.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I got to see Matt walking around barefoot in a supermarket. That was fun.
We do that in Australia.
Yeah, it's so funny because people are really looking at you funny here. I love that you didn't care. You just jumped in the car barefoot and ran to the supermarket with me. That was great.
Yeah.
So again, if you're on right now, and I know some of you are watching, type a comment, type hello, type something in so that we know our technology is working. We need to get all that kind of squared away before we get rolling. I'm going to look right now and see if we are where we think we're supposed to be.
I think we are. I've just had a look in.
Cool.
Live, I can see you there. Yep,
we're live. And I'm assuming we're on YouTube as well. Check on YouTube real quick.
Yeah.
So Matt, anything else from your trip you want to share?
I made it home in one piece.
Right? You were in the air for about 13 hours.
Yeah, 15 in the end because the wind was there was bad weather, and so they had to go around, and they were against the wind and stuff. So we landed about an hour late. But that was okay. And I got an upgrade at the gate, which is always fantastic. So it's nice to stay up your spiral about those sorts of things and just watch how things magically unfold. Also, it was just interesting leaving Palm Springs and making my way back into LA. There was very little traffic. I got stuff done in the car. Everything was just rolling really smoothly and easily. And I kind of understood a little bit that concept of allowing, where the stream says, just do your inspired action. Don't worry about beating a path or hammering it out. Just stay upbeat and in the mood. And there was some work I needed to do on the plane that I've been putting off for ages. And it was like, no, come on. Stay upbeat about it. Stay happy about it. Get into the work. See what you can do. Oh, hey, Nicole. She just says hi.
Hi,
so it was great to kind of take some of those teachings about, the importance of your spiral and your vibration when you're doing mundane stuff.
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks you just need to be super happy all the time, and it's not about that. It's just about trying to stay positive, really, even when you're doing boring stuff.
Yeah, and it's the little games and the little, kind of showing ourselves how our up the spiral positioning is playing out in our lives in real time is always so enjoyable, because both days that Matt was here, it was a very high vibrational day. And I kept getting my numbers lining up, as I always do. My 111, I got one day I got 1111, 111, 333, and 555.
Yeah.
All the same day. And that's the same day that we had a business meeting, and the business meeting was amazing. Everybody involved had this, amazing experience, great new ideas that we've never come up with before. And then we went out to dinner, and Matt took us out to dinner, and we went to one of my favorite restaurants in Palm Springs.
That was fantastic.
And we drove up, and we got the parking space I wanted. The very first parking space was open, and you have to, it's kind of hard to explain, but you have to drive all the way down this long parking lot. And if you don't get the very last space, then you have to exit the parking lot and make a huge block to come back. And I had faith that that one little space was going to be there. Every space was filled except for that one space, which was the very first space. And we pulled right in. We went in, had an amazing dinner, met some friends of Matt's, and it was just a lovely night.
Yeah.
The food was great, and we shut the place down. And then the next day, we had a stream session. We set a very high intention for the day. Everything unfolded during the day, and we got a lot done in one day.
Oh yeah,
we got a lot of stuff accomplished. We went to the gym, got a lot of business stuff accomplished all in one day. Worked on all these little projects, got through the whole day, and then we carried that energy into the evening. Went to another favorite spot of mine. Pulled up to the restaurant yet again, and there's a space that's open. Again, it's right up front. And who is parked right next to the space? But one of my best friends just happened to be at the restaurant. Their car was parked. His truck was parked right next to the open space. We pull in. We walk in. Matt got to meet him. It was just like cool, like, wow, one thing after another, after another, after another. And, it's just like a charmed life. And, in my life's not like that all the time. I go down my spiral and have my days just like everybody else. Yeah. But, the cool thing is that we have the power to have those days. And we appreciate them so much. And then when we're not having those days, when everything seems to be going wrong and things seem to be going in the opposite direction, having those down days actually makes us really appreciate those up days, those high days. And what Taya is all about is training our vibes so that we're having more of those up days and really digging in and appreciating them, and less of the down days. But also what Taya does is we really lean into and appreciate the down days, because we know that even though we're down a little bit, we're not going to board the thought train. We're not going to let our minds run wild. We're not going to let Claude come in, our voice, whatever you call it, of limiting beliefs. If you've learned these skills, if you've learned these things, these are all little components of Taya. The things that we're not going to do while we're down in negative emotion, how we're going to sort of ride out that period without doing a lot of damage in our lives. That's a big game changer for sure. And hi, Mercy. And
hi, Mercy.
And just learning to appreciate the up and the down, and then realizing when we're living in that state of appreciation, there's a lot less down and there's a lot more up, and there's a lot more abundance, and there's a lot more answers, and there's a lot more, even when we go down and create an obstacle for ourselves, we go right back up. And find the solution of that obstacle.
Absolutely. And some of the stuff that I thought was interesting was you've got to drive right to the end of the car park to get the park that you wanted, right? Mm-hmm. You set your intention when you drove into the car park. You kept going down, you kept going down, you kept going down, but you don't start putting static in of, oh, it's not going to work, it's never there, when is it going to get there, is my park going to get there? You just keep trusting until you get there, and you just expect it to be there. And I think that's the magic of trusting your abundance.
Yeah, and it's fully letting go and fully trusting. And for those of you that might be new to these teachings, the practice is called Taya. It stands for Trust Your Abundance. It's something that I teach people now all over the world in Taya Boot Camp. And I talk about it a lot. I have a Facebook group. If you're watching on YouTube, I have a Facebook group called Law of Attraction 2.0. And if you're on Facebook, join it. I even tell people, if you're not on Facebook, I meet a lot of people on Instagram, and a lot of them aren't on Facebook. And they join Facebook just to join Law of Attraction 2.0. Sometimes it's an alias. I don't care. Just get into the group, because there's a lot of good stuff going on in that group. We teach a lot about little Taya tips and techniques in there. And that's what Taya is, Law of Attraction 2.0. Most people that discover these teachings already have a basic understanding, at least, that we create our own reality, that our thoughts are creating our reality, that everything starts as imagination, and the universe conspires to create whatever we're focusing on. And if we're focusing on positive things and we believe these positive things are going to come to us. But if we are habitually focusing on negative things, then we're going to have more negative things coming our way. And we shouldn't beat ourselves up about habitually focusing on negative things, because we're taught to do that in our society. Yeah, I watched. Michael wanted to watch the we're here in the United States. Michael wanted to watch the Democratic debate last night, which of course is all politics. And I don't really follow politics anymore. But we had an interesting time, because when Matt was in town, we went to the gym, And my gym was right by the airport here in Palm Springs. Well, Donald Trump came to visit Palm Springs. I talked about this last night. While we were at the gym, he landed while we were at the gym. And his motorcade went right by our gym where Matt and I were. And so we got through with our workout. We left the gym and we drove right into what I would call a mini Trump rally. There were all these Trump supporters everywhere. They had their signs and they were just having the best time of their lives. They were having so much fun. And then, of course, there were people who were not Trump supporters also out there with their signs and doing their thing. And so it's just really interesting to kind of be in the middle of that and to start thinking a little bit about politics. I didn't really absorb much of it. And then to, after Matt left, Michael announced that he wants to watch the Democratic debate. So I sat and watched it with him. And I thought, wow, this is all really down the spiral stuff. Here, these people are attacking each other. They have a common opponent, but they want the nomination. So they're attacking each other. Everything is fear-based. Everything is problem-based. A lot of kind of complaining and a lot of negativity. And I thought, wow, this is why I don't really follow politics anymore, because it doesn't really seem like it's the solution. All they do is go round and round and round in circles. And not a whole lot gets done. Some things get done, certainly, but not a whole lot gets done. I've learned a long time ago to not give a lot of power to that in my life and to really focus on creating my bubble of reality. So regardless of who is in power, I'm in power of my life. And good things are going to come to me. And I remember during the recession in the United States, I just decided I wasn't going to participate in it. And I didn't. I actually made more money year after year after year in the recession. And there were elements of it that sucked for sure. I hated seeing it, but I wasn't participating in it. And we have to realize how much power we have in our lives, that we don't have to give our power away to the government or to a religion that might be oppressing you in some way. We don't have to give our power to other people, parents that want to assert themselves into our lives, perhaps a partner that wants to do that. We just don't have to do that anymore. We can really turn the page and take control and really change. And it doesn't matter where you are in life, what age you are in life, how wound up you are in conditions that you think you can't get out of. I remember thinking that I was never going to be able to get out of my career field because I was making so much money in my field and I'd come so far in my career. I thought I was stuck and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I liked how I started in that industry. I didn't like where I ended up. And the higher up I went, the less I liked it. The more prestige I got, the more money I made, the more I was disconnected from the element of that career that I actually liked. And I remember thinking, I'm stuck. I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. And then when I finally came around to understanding everything about law of attraction, how powerful I really was, I then was able to walk away from it. And that was a huge turning point in my life. And I'm here to share this knowledge with anyone who wants to receive it. And I share from my human perspective. And of course, I channel the stream and they share from a much higher perspective than mine. They are able to answer questions that I cannot possibly begin to answer. And there's nothing off limits for them. So if you haven't watched the show before, I'm going to turn it over to Matt to host. Yep. And Matt is going to moderate, read your questions, and I'm going to take a little break and meditate in a moment, bring in the stream, and I'll be sharing their knowledge with all of you. And it's a stream of consciousness that is the core of source energy, the source of all creation. And their point of view and their perspective and their take on things, if you haven't absorbed this type of teaching before, if you haven't heard us before, it's very, very different. It's very different than we're taught across humanity. I don't know if other people, I just saw Kelly is saying that.
Yeah, I'm just replying to her, yeah.
I don't know if it's on our end or your end. I don't think there's a whole lot we can really do about that. I think the best thing we can do is set intention to have a good experience here with the stream, for the video to work great, for the audio to work great, and for everything that you want and need for the stream to come through. And the best way to get that is to type a question in for the stream. So go ahead and start typing your questions in. Matt, what do you have?
No, just give me 1 second. I need to plug my laptop in, but it doesn't pass out halfway through. So just give me 1 second, guys.
Okay, plug your laptop in. So while he's on break, I'll kind of finish telling you what the stream is all about. So I have been receiving information my entire life. I can remember it way back at age 6. At age 14, I can really remember having a very clear understanding of the law of attraction. I remember standing and telling my brother that my older brother, that we needed to just think about the things that we wanted in life as if we already had them. and that those things would come to us. I grew up very poor, and it was an interesting experience because our immediate family was poor, but our extended family was what I would call upper middle class. My brother and I lived, shared a bedroom in a 2-bedroom apartment, not a very nice apartment at all, with our minimum wage earning single parent mother supporting us. And we had a half sister that lived in a 4,000 square foot house with a swimming pool, and we had cousins that had brand new cars every year, and just all of these things that we weren't able to have. And it just became very clear to me that we weren't understanding how the universe operated, and that we could have those things too. We just needed to mentally place ourselves there, and they would come to us. And of course, my brother did not sign on to that at all. He thought I was nuts, and I did, and I ran with it, and my life changed dramatically in doing that. And I learned early on that I could manifest money and things with ease. And I spent a good portion of my life manifesting money and things until I turned 40 and realized, wow, I have all this money and all these things, and I'm still not happy. So that's where Taya came from. Taya didn't come from I'm going to teach you how to manifest money and things. Lots of people are out there doing that. Lots of people out there are attempting to do that, at least. What I found was the money and things are not very satisfying if you don't love yourself first.
Yeah.
If you don't have a clear connection to source first, to God, whatever you want to call it, to me, it's all the same. If you don't clean up the things from your past that drag your vibration down, if you don't take care of the things that are the triggers for you, if you don't view things from your past, perhaps from a higher perspective that maybe make you feel bad about yourself when you think about them, things that cause pain, things that cause trauma. I had to clean all that stuff up in my life. And when I did, my life really changed. I lost 100 pounds. I got out of a bad relationship. I got off of painkillers. I healed my back pain. I healed my knee pain. I had lots of bodily functions going on, lots of bodily conditions going on that were not pleasant. And I healed myself emotionally and physically. And in doing so, I really transformed. And sticking myself in that job was sort of the last frontier for me. That was the last thing that I really had to let go of in my transformation. That, and then coming out of the closet as a channel, no longer fearing being judged by other people as being some wacko, some kook, somebody that's possessed, perhaps, what are they, schizophrenic? I've been called those things. I could care less what anybody calls me at this point. I could care less whether anybody's into this or not. The stream has said, if you're not into this, move on from it. I'm not trying to sell this idea to anyone. We are offering it for those that are vibrationally aligned to it. And if you feel compelled to sit and listen and absorb this information, and it resonates with you, trust your instincts. And if it doesn't, trust your instincts. I wholeheartedly believe that. So what's about to happen? I see some questions coming in, which is fantastic. I see some people in Taya Boot Camp on here. So I'm going to turn it over to Matt now. I'm going to take a little break, get quiet, meditate, set an intention to bring in the stream. Matt, what do you have?
Yeah, perfect. Look, that's about it. I think, let's all hold the intention now for people who are viewing this in the future to just send good energy to the interaction so that we get some good questions from the stream and some good insights from them. I think you're absolutely right. It's been a fantastic week, and this will be a great way to kind of cap it off. And looking forward to your questions and to bringing the stream in. Let's do it.
Very good. We are here.
Hello. Thank you for joining us today. We have a good group, and we have some questions to ask you, if we may.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Before we begin, is there anything you'd like to say to us as far as guidance?
We will begin with where David left off. That we were very much part of your interaction over the past few days, and we were swirling and flowing, and you were co-creating with us. It's important that everyone who is listening to this understand that we are not swooping into your existence and taking control and dropping information into your minds. The channeling, that which you call channeling, that you are interacting with right now. Yes, we are dropping thoughts into David's mind, and he is sort of in such a gear that he can simply speak them with ease and listen and get the answers and speak them. But in general, when you are up your spiral and you are setting a positive intention for the very best outcome, and this is what we guide you to do, to not be so specific in setting an intention for a very, very specific thing. You are really limiting the universal powers when you do that. The very best thing that you can do is focus upon a scenario where you are wondering what's going to happen, or you are wanting a specific outcome, and in being a little more broad and general with it and setting an intention for the very best possible outcome. That opens you up to allowing the universe to take these twists and turns and circumstances and bundle something even larger and greater than you can possibly imagine for you and deliver it up to you seemingly on a silver platter. And understand that when that is going on, when that type of event is occurring, that is not us coming in and handing you something. That is your co-creation, utilizing your connection to us, and you all have it. But it is co-creative. It is you, from your ego-driven human perspective, creating something with our source energy that has never been created before. And allowing the universe, and of course we are the universe, and you are the universe. The universe is a very broad and general term, but the universe can deliver anything to you, and will deliver a bigger and better version of, if you so allow. And you allow this by being more general, best possible outcome. And we will tell you that when you set the intention for the best possible outcome, and you trust, and you remove doubt, and you remove fear, what happens very often is you are wanting something, and you're wanting something, and you're wanting something, and you feel like it's not coming, and you feel like perhaps you're a failure at manifesting. When you do that, you are actually slowing, if not halting, your desire down. Because it's very common for you to want something and then have it not work out. But if you stay up your spiral and you revel in the not working out of it, you are allowing the universe to bring you an even bigger and better version of. And it's important to remember that, because your vibrations, you tend to want everything instantaneously in your current day society. You have evolved to a place where you have everything on demand. And yes, you can change the trajectory of your mood, your day, your interactions with others on demand by raising your vibration. But when you are speaking of physical creation, when you are speaking of finding the love of your life, when you are speaking of physical progression of healing, when you are speaking of creation of wealth, creation of a new business, creation of a new home, these things have an incubation period and do often take time. And there will be changes in vibration on your way there. And that there will be ups and there will be downs. And the true test of the universe, and this is universal design, to ensure that you're really ready for this thing. The bigger things, the bigger new creation in your world have an incubation period, because you do not truly want manifestation on demand. Imagine what your world would be like if you all absorbed these teachings and you all sat and thought, yacht, 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 vacation home, vacation home, vacation home, vacation home. Think of what would happen. There is an incubation period, and you are not all here on the same ride. You are not all here to own a yacht. But if your intention is pure for that, and you are steadfast in that belief, you will receive it. But from your higher perspective, your soul consciousness perspective, you will gain this, what you call enlightenment. And you will go up your spiral, and you will love yourselves so much more and be in such a state of joy when you are loving yourselves as you are now. You will very often then find that the yacht was never the answer in the first place. In fact, we will tell you there are others sitting on yachts right now who now understand that the yacht, yes, indeed brings some joy in the moment, but was not the answer that they thought it was going to be. And they are bewildered by this. And we are not talking you out of your yachts, but we are letting you know that from your perspective, you may believe that having that thing and that pile of money is the answer to everything, but it is not. And where we are guiding you with this is loving what is, loving the now, loving the contrast, loving the negative, loving the negative aspects of you and the things that you do not desire, the things that are not your preference. Love all of it, appreciate all of it. Find your paths to appreciation of all of it. And then if you discern a preference for a yacht, have your yacht, and it will be far more satisfying from that perspective. And you can sit on your yacht and you can think back to the time that you loved yourself without it. You can be fully resolute that if that yacht ever goes away, that you will still love yourselves, which is a very high vibration, and you can then enjoy and revel in your yacht.
Oh, beautiful message. I'll let you know when the yacht arrives. Sarah asks an interesting question here. There's an incubation period and there's a time for waiting and things. Is that the same when people are trying to conceive a baby? Often couples are so intent on having the baby and they struggle for that.
The desire to procreate is innate in many of you, and very often you are coming from a state of not happiness, needing the child to be happy, needing to have the experience of being a parent to be happy. It's just like the yacht. The yacht is not a yacht. The yacht is a baby. It's the same. So love yourselves and your lives as is, and understand that placing the pressure on having the baby is exactly what's keeping the conception from happening. In fact, very many of you have stories of friends and family and other loved ones who tried to conceive and tried to conceive and tried to conceive and finally threw in the towel and adopted a child. And guess what? Got pregnant.
Yeah.
Because they stopped trying, they stopped pushing, they stopped needing. They were then in the vibration of having a child. In their adopting of a child, they were in the vibration of having a child. And we are not here to guide you toward or away from adoption at all. But you don't have to adopt a child to be in the vibration of having a child. Be in that high vibrational loving state and understand that there will be a magical unfolding. And perhaps it is guiding you to, instead of conceiving your own child, toward adoption. Maybe your vibrational match already exists. Explore that. Understand that. But take the pressure off and understand that there should not be a lot of effort in any of that. David explored adopting a child at one point in his life and found it monumentally difficult for him as a gay man, and decided not to do it, and ultimately went on to realize that was not his true intention in the first place. So it never came to be. But if it's meant to be, it will fall into place magically for you, as all things do. Set the broader intention of being a parent and leave it alone.
There's a certain amount of discipline in allowing, in leaving alone, in not causing static. Can you give us some advice on that? Because so often what we struggle with is not the imagination, but so often we struggle with that waiting period.
Understand first and foremost that you are in a polarized environment, and being in a polarized environment, there is going to be contrast on every single topic, always. You are never going to find the perfect job. You are never going to find from your perspective, the perfect mate. You are never going to have the perfect body. There is no perfection. In fact, the imperfection is the perfection in your world, in any physical environment. There's always contrast. There's always something that's going to cause you to go deeper, to want more, to want further evolution. This drives the entire expansion of the universe. So there's always going to be some level of contrast regardless. So there's always going to be some element of that that's not going to be exactly the way that you want it to be. Nothing is ever going to be just perfect. And that is true on every single topic across the board.
Yeah. And I think we just need to give it the time for things to manifest. Nicole asks an interesting question. Do you have any tips or guidance on tapping into your own creativity better?
Your own creativity is, we provided an example of this at the beginning of this interaction. Your own creativity is an amalgam of your very up the spiral connectedness to our energy, which is your higher self, and your ego-driven human mind thinking from the very high vibrational space of being a human being and wanting to use your mind to create something new. It is always co-creative. And when you are up your spiral, up in high vibration, you are at your very best creation. David paints paintings, and when he is up the spiral, and he knows to go up his spiral when he is making a new painting. And when he goes up his spiral and begins to paint, suddenly he's creating something that from his down the spiral perspective, he could have never possibly comprehended. And yet there is this new creation. Where did it come from? It was a co-creation. It is every time. And when you look at a painting, you all are aware whether that was created from up the spiral or down the spiral, and whether or not it resonates with you.
That's true. So keep going up your spiral, Nicole, and you'll expect some contact with your creativity.
And creativity is like any other topic. When you go looking for it and you're trying to force it, you're going to chase it away. Make your work being habitually up your spiral, meditate, get into a good space, create from a happy up the spiral, high vibrational space, and it will be very satisfying for you.
Thank you. Mercy asks an interesting question. It seems most spiritual teachers have had an extreme experience when David was very ill, which allowed him to surrender. That's the experience that gives them the deep knowing and trust, because it moves from theory to knowing. So what happens if you haven't had a transformation or a deep night of the soul? Can you still be a spiritual teacher? What if you've had a very average, simple life all this time?
You absolutely can still be a spiritual teacher. In fact, what you will experience is the contrast of being a spiritual teacher. And that will provide an experience for you in and of itself. Because even if you believe that your life experience has been a smooth sailing, you will create some additional contrast in your life by design. And when you begin sharing your gifts and sharing your thoughts, you will have an adjustment period, because even in the realm of what you call spirituality, you have a very big tent. And when you start interacting with others with your teachings, you're going to have to reconcile the fact that they are not going to be the right teachings for everyone. And there will be plenty of lower vibrational interaction where others will be pushing against the very thing that you're trying to help them with. David spends some time surfing through some of these Facebook groups and seeing things posted, people that are in distress, that have a belief system that he knows he can assist with, and he will go in and comment, and there will be an enormous backlash to what he shares very often. He gets very frustrated when people are posting things about Mercury in retrograde destroying their lives, when he knows that all they need to do is focus on their vibrational spiral, not worry about such things, because polarity is ever present. From our teachings, he understands this. He's applied it in his life, and he is seeing, he saw today postings about how the last 2 days in people's lives, because of Mercury going into retrograde, have been detrimental to them. Whereas he came on this broadcast and described 2 of the most glorious days of his life, because he was up his spiral. He set an intention. He was with Matt. And people are saying their electronics are not working and things are going awry and nothing is going right. He didn't experience none of that. Matt experienced none of that. None of you have experienced any of that. Focus on your own vibration. The Mercury in retrograde is yet one example of numerous examples of things that create polarity on your planet, and it has been overhyped, just as your viruses are overhyped. These things are overhyped to scare you. And here there are spiritual teachers using these same techniques in a spiritual method to instill fear in people. And it's very frustrating to David. We guide him away from worrying about such things. Allow everyone to live their contrast. Allow those that believe Mercury in retrograde is destroying their lives to destroy their lives. That is their contrast. We are not guiding him to go out into other people's groups and try to save people from themselves. We are guiding him to share our message his way in his groups and allow those that are vibrationally aligned with it to join in. And when you do, as you all experience, it is a very high vibrational experience for everyone. But you are going to create contrast regardless in your lives. And we are not guiding you to be fearful of that. And if you've had a relatively easy life and you're looking for an upshift, you will manifest an upshift for yourself, and there will be contrast in that upshift. But do not fear that. Ultimately, that contrast and that upshift will serve you.
Yeah. As all challenging times do.
Indeed.
There's a bit of a cheeky question at the moment. If we think about stuff and we stay positive and up the spiral and things work out magically, is it just luck? What is the difference between luck and intention?
Luck is created from your up the spiral time. You create your luck. And do you notice that there are people that you know, people that you work with, people that in your family, people that you associate with, who are generally successful, generally healthy, generally happy, lucky? Why is that? Why are they lucky? And there are other people that you know that are continually focusing on what's wrong. They are continually down their spiral. They're continually pessimistic, and they are not as lucky. Are they pessimistic because they're not as lucky? Or are they not as lucky because they're pessimistic? And we're not guiding you that you have to believe any of this. If you wish to go about and believe in luck, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, if your belief is very, very strong in luck, you know nothing about our teachings, and you believe you're a lucky person, you will have a very satisfying experience. Yeah.
You say again and again, belief is the important thing. It's not so much what you're believing, just believe in something. Is the belief important because it leads to the trust, or is the belief important because it focuses your attention?
Both. The true belief allows you to have a positive focus of attention on that which you desire. And it's consistent because it's a belief. The one who believes they're lucky will indeed be lucky. And most of you know someone that believes they're lucky, and they are lucky. These teachings are not required. These teachings help you all detune things from your past that you have absorbed that perhaps are not serving you, and you understand that, and that's why you're here. There are certainly examples of some human beings that project themselves into a set of circumstances where they just believe they're lucky and they have a relatively easy life. And there is nothing wrong with that. They are creating a certain type of life experience for themselves. It is not unusual for these lucky people to tire of their luck, tire of their ease of manifestation, and throw some disruption into their lives. That is not unusual. This is where a lot of your illness comes from. You have people that reach middle age and they've had a relatively easy life, and suddenly they have a diagnosis that is undesirable, and there is a new piece of contrast that they have to deal with, perhaps the most severe they've dealt with in their lives. And what do they do with that? Where do they go from there? Does it cause them to go deeper? David had we spoke of this recently. David had an aunt that he knew briefly when he was younger that he had lost touch with, and suddenly she found him on Facebook and discovered what he was doing, and wanted to read his book and wanted to be involved in his group. And he discovered that the reason she wanted to be involved was because she was suffering from brain cancer, and he was so happy that she had found these teachings. And shortly after her discovery of all of this, she passed away. And David was disappointed that his teachings through our guidance was not able to help her. And we swooped right in and said, indeed, they were able to help her. Her higher intention in all of that was fulfilled. Your demise is part of your existence. And from your higher perspective, you view events such as that very differently. She utilized the very tail end of her human life experience to evolve in such a way that she had never explored before, and it was very satisfying for her. Mm-hmm. You are not necessarily going to stop a terminal situation, but that is not always your higher perspective's desire to do so anyway. Mm-hmm. Death is not the bad thing that you often make it out to be across humanity. You're all going to do it. You are all eternal beings, and there is no correct number of years to be physical on planet Earth. Mm-hmm. And when you realize that and appreciate your life and your contrast, and appreciate everyone else's life and their contrast, and allow them to experience it, you are more relaxed. When you are no longer fearing your demise, when you are no longer fearing illness, when you release these fears from your lives, you are able to more enjoy your day-to-day existences. And in doing so, you will manifest more of your desires, because you're naturally up your spiral more often and down your spiral less. But learning these things is not about living forever. That was not your intention when you came here. Learning these things is not about necessarily living a life of perfection. In fact, it's not. Learning these things is about having an improved life, a more joyful life, and a more abundant life. But it's also about appreciating your down the spiral time, appreciating your obstacles, understanding that you manifest those obstacles so that you can expand from them. Your growth, your solving of your problems creates your expansion. Your expansion contributes to our expansion, thus the expansion of the universe. That is a very important task that you are all here contributing to. In fact, it is the only reason you come to physical.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. That's a lovely message. Sarah asks another message, which is something you've spoken about before, and I think it's kind of a good segue. Are there things that are preordained in life, or can we change our lives as we go?
The only preordained is the fact that you are here living in linear time. And when you are not physical, you are consciousness. And in consciousness, there is no linear time. Everything that has ever happened, essentially, and everything that is ever going to happen is happening simultaneously. But it's ever evolving, ever shifting, ever changing. And so you are here in physical, changing your future and even changing your past. Collectively, you are changing the past of your planet. You are collectively rewriting your history all the time. And that new rewritten version of it, the new recollection of it, the new focus of it, it becomes reality. And that is true for the future as well. So there is nothing that is set in stone and preordained. We hear you speak very often, some of you, of soul contracts, that you came here to complete this mission and do this thing exactly this way, and then you're going to return to your completed state. You will have completed your mission. There would be no point in being physical if that's the way things were. You, from your non-physical state, your soul consciousness state, have a set of desires to come and experience a certain type of experience as a physically focused being. In this choice, this instance, you are aligning with being a human being. And not only that, you are aligning with a set of circumstances, understanding that it's going to deliver a certain level of contrast. No matter what, you can be born into the most loving, wealthy, healthy parents on planet Earth, and you're still going to receive contrast in that experience. You can also be born into the most poverty-stricken, most severe illness, the tiniest village, subject to genocide on planet Earth, and have an experience from that as well. And very often the ones that are choosing the latter are the ones who are choosing the greater risk, understanding that there is greater reward from greater risk in all things, including your lifetime. And in that greater risk and greater reward, you are coming and placing yourself in the path of greater contrast, severe contrast, just to see how and if you will find your way out of it. And there will be value in that experience regardless of the outcome. And as you are well aware, there are children who at a very young age starve to death in these scenarios. And there are other children who manage to survive, who manage to find their way out of the village, who manage to find their way perhaps toward education, who manage to find their way perhaps to a whole other place where they are living an entirely different life experience. And then perhaps they are sharing that and teaching from that perspective. There is value in all of that. And there is nothing that you can't shift and change during your lifetime. You are all in the middle of a human life experience right now watching this video. And in doing so, it's important to understand that wherever you've been does not have to dictate where you're going to go. You can change that direction. You can change the trajectory. You can rewrite your story. In fact, you can go back and rewrite your past to a version that serves you better, because all of it only exists as your memory of it anyway. And if it's not serving you, shift it, change it, rewrite it. Imagination is the spark of all creation. Use your imagination to serve you. If you were harmed by another, flip the story, change it in your imagination of, so that when you revisit that, and you will, you can think of it from a higher vibrational standpoint, and it's no longer taking you down your spiral. Understand that you manifested that from down the spiral, perhaps from fear, perhaps from things that you absorbed from television, perhaps from things that you absorbed. Even your childhood cartoons at one point were very violent. And that was delivering contrast. And things have evolved. You realize that perhaps you shouldn't place your children in front of such violence. You place your children in front of the cartoon character that's knocking around the other cartoon character, and then you're surprised that your child's doing that on the playground at school. Where do they get the idea? You are absorbing your reality, and you are reacting to it, and you are very often taught to be fearful of it. And that fear is inviting things into your life, even as a small child. So these things happened, and then you manifested them. Was it your fault? No. Was it something that you desired? No. Is it something that you received because of karma from a past life? No. It is your contrast that you are manifesting in this lifetime, and how you react to it is everything. How you respond to your contrast is everything. And you are here on your path, charting your own course. And that is the deliciousness of all of this, that you are here, and you are growing and expanding and doing it. And we revel in watching it, regardless of the outcome. You will return to us one way or the other, and you will return to us an expanded being one way or the other. Not damaged, not broken. You will emerge in pure positive energy, pure love when all of this is done. But we are here to tell you that you can be in that now and still enjoy being a human being. And part of being a human being is contrast. We guide you to appreciate your contrast. We guide you to appreciate those with whom you disagree. We guide you to not worry about needing to be right. David's going and sharing in these groups was based in his ego, not in our teachings. Thus his frustration. And then finally realizing that it was taking him down a spiral, and he moved on from it.
If you do, that's an interesting point. If you spend most of your life down a spiral and have a very difficult existence and a very sort of dark existence, when you die, do you return? Does everyone return to source? Can we return to negative energy?
You are not going to, from a human state, return to what you would call negative energy. The idea of a negative afterlife is a human creation to scare you into behaving a certain way while you're here on planet Earth. You are all born of pure positive energy. There is not one infant among you that is born evil of any species. That innocence, that bewilderment is real. What occurs after that is setting you off on a path.
That's an interesting point. When we're first born and everyone looks, are they more connected to their higher selves at childbirth? Is there a kind of a jet lag from transitioning?
Jet lag is actually a very good way to describe that. You are sort of coming into a haze where you still have a higher connection that will sort of be egoed out of you as you progress in your first few years. And that serves you to operate more as a human being and not so much as a soul consciousness being. And then many of you spend your lifetimes trying to find your paths back. Some do not, but here you are trying to find your paths back. And that is a glorious thing indeed. But it's important to understand that there is a reason that humans find infants, whether it is an animal or a human being, very appealing. You are very drawn to them. Notice that. That is universal design, to draw numerous beings around so that that infant can absorb the learning of more than just parents. This is why the aunts and the uncles and the grandparents and the neighbors all want to come see the new baby or the new puppy, because they are absorbing from their environment, and they are literally attracting that in. That is why you find these infant beings so appealing. That is by universal design, and you are coming in a state, and we describe it as bewilderment. That there is a where am I? What have I done? Sort of a thought process going on, and then the absorbing begins. And of course, you are like a very thirsty sponge when you first enter, and you are absorbing all of it. And as a human being with your high intelligence, you are learning many things very rapidly, and you're evolving very rapidly. And as you progress, you are going to become more human and less spiritual naturally. But you're going to progress to an early childhood stage where it is very much an inner world of bewilderment. But that you through contrast, you will exit that phase, and you will begin delivering more contrast to yourselves as children and into your teen years. Certainly, all of that contrast is serving you. That is strengthening you. That is building your human experience. That is delivering your contrast. That is showing you what you don't want, so that you can then turn your focus, if you so choose, to what you do want. That serves a great purpose. And then as you progress into adulthood, you are sort of set upon a path. And many of you flow through this path of adulthood and get to a certain state. Many of you refer to it as middle age, where you then are at a turning point. You look back at your lives up until then and think to yourselves, do you want the rest of your lives to be the same, or do you want to change direction? And that is why there are so many in David's program in that age range. Not all, but certainly some. The age group ranges from 20s to 70s, but the vast majority are 40s and 50s, because they were at that stage where they are saying, there's more than this. I've done all of this, and now I want more. I want something different, and I know it's available to me. I want to shift directions. I want to change. I don't want to be the person that I thought I was going to be for the rest of my life. I want more. I want to be more, do more, have more joy, love myself more, not experience the negative things that I've experienced up until now, and really set my life on a different path. And that is available to each and every one of you. You all have the ability to do that. Find your set of tools wherever it is, if that is your true desire, and change the direction of your lives if that's what you desire. And if you have not reached that stage yet, and you're already thinking that you want to be more in control, that is a glorious thing as well. That you at a younger age, and we are here to tell you that you are all born up to speed with the time that you come in. And there are more being born right now with higher enlightenment, because you have elevated your environment. Those that came before raised the vibration of planet Earth. I know if you turn on the news, you don't necessarily believe that, but the collective vibration of planet Earth is absolutely increasing. So much so that you have created this technology that is expanding rapidly, where you can all communicate globally, and you are all learning a common language to better communicate globally. And you are all intermixing and you are reproducing from different parts of the world and creating new types of human beings. And when you do that, notice that the very best traits emerge. You are becoming better in your evolution. And that evolution is creating a highly evolved new one coming in. And it has always been that way. And those generational differences are by design, because a child is born up to speed with the time that they enter in. And by design, their parents are never going to completely identify with them, thus delivering contrast, which is your desire. This is why you and your parents have different philosophies and ways of living your lives, and you and your grandparents certainly have different philosophies. That continues on. That is a sign of evolution. And notice that the higher perspective, more and more with the younger generations, is prevailing. But in your politics, what you are seeing is a backlash to that from an older generation that doesn't want to change. But ultimately, that change is inevitable.
Oh, thank you. It's been a fantastic session with some great questions. We need to wrap up now. Do you have any final messages for us for this week, please?
The path that we have gone down is very much tied to the intentionality of the viewers now and in the future. The message that we have shared, we really, our desire for all of you is to really allow this to sink in, that you are all on this evolutionary journey as human beings. And as much as you appreciate wisdom, and you should also look at the ones that are younger than you and see how they are operating, and understand that there's a great deal of wisdom in the newness of them to planet Earth, because they're born up to speed with the current vibration. And there's nothing to be envious of there, because you are the ones that created the current vibration that they are aligned with. This is universal design at play, and you have evidence of it all around you. So take that morsel, if you have not heard that from us before, and really ponder that, and really think about that, and really appreciate where you are at this time on planet Earth and the perfection of it all. And we guide you to understand that the things that you view and discern as not your preference, there is nothing wrong with that. You are here to appreciate all of it, because the things that you discern as not your preference are very much there to inspire you to create something different, something more, something bigger. And when you view something that you view as not your preference, i.e. the ones holding the political signs that you do not agree with, and you allow that to take you down your spiral, you are not solving anything in that low vibration. In fact, David shared with Matt that he felt that the supporters of the president were in a very high vibrational state. They were happy. They were doing their thing. They were seeing their leader. He felt the high vibration of it. Understand what that means. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. Simply appreciate that they are living in their bubble of reality, and they believe they are right. And if you start thinking differently about these things and allowing them to have their bubble of reality, and instead of wanting to push against them and all of that, if that is something you do not agree with, we are simply using this as an example. This is true on all topics. And instead, focus on what you want and your bubble of reality, and not need to save humanity from itself. Understand that the ones that you see suffering, you can certainly pitch in and assist from a high vibrational state and do anything to help your fellow human. We're not guiding you away from that, but understand that it is not your job nor your place to put laws in place to try to save others from themselves. This is something that is very prevalent across humanity that you are slowly coming to realize does not work. Saving another from themselves, saving them from their contrast. We are not swooping in and saving from their contrast. We hear some speak of God, the idea of God, and we understand what that means to someone. That is a human creation of a rationalization of the energetic realm, and there is nothing wrong with any of that. But the question is, if there is this God that is the source of all creation, why does this God allow these negative things to happen? That is a serious question, and we are here to tell you why. The pure positive energy that is the source of all creation, which you are all part of and you are encountering and interacting with right now, is not here to stop that which you consider negative from occurring, because the negative things that occur are very temporary, very brief, and viewed very differently from the other perspective, and create desire for change. And in that desire for change, when that desire goes from pushing against and protesting and hating to we want something different, we are going to focus over here instead, that new creation occurs, that negative thing that you don't want disappears, and you have created something new, and you have evolved in the process. And you have not only created something new for planet Earth, you have created something new from the universe. And it is our promise to you that your planet Earth, which is your point of reference currently as a human being, certainly not from your higher perspective, but you are a human being right now. And we always guide you back to focusing on planet Earth. Started as a speck of dust and evolved from there through intentionality, through original thought, through contrast. Much love. That is all we have.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, they went off at the end.
Oh, the tears come.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was. Woo.
Wow. The tears come. I know it's a good one. I can't wait to go back and watch it.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
I'll be 52 on Tuesday, and I'm sitting here crying. Oh well. See a grown man cry from channeling. What's that?
enjoy your steak on your birthday.
Oh yeah, definitely. I will. And my wine. All right, everybody. I don't know what transpired, but obviously it was a really good one. And thank you all for watching. I see there were a lot of you signed on, both on YouTube and on Facebook. So that's fantastic. I can't wait to go back and watch it. Matt, thank you so much for everything this week. Thank you so much for hosting as always.
Yeah, amazing.
All right, everybody.
I love you too.
All right.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you, everybody. Bye now.
Pleasure. Bye.